All right, guys, welcome back to the What's Poppin' podcast. This is the sports series.
Yes, sir.
We got a banger,
big one coming up right here.
Let's get right into it, man. I'm super
right
excited. Ladies and gentlemen, today we got two-time Stanley Cup champion,
Two-time
silver medalist for Team Canada from your Ottawa Senators, number 21, Mathieu Joseph.
Let's go.
What's going on, bro? How's it going, man? Thanks for coming on the show, man. I know you're busy.
We appreciate it, man. We know it's a busy time of the season.
Yeah.
A lot of important games coming up, but we appreciate you taking the time. We're not going to be too long. I know you got some things to do.
No, it's all good, honestly. I love podcasts. I think you guys have a great setup already. And
thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
For sure.
So let's get right into it, man. Let's all the way back to your childhood. How'd you get into hockey? And
I think my dad, obviously I didn't start in hockey. But, growing up, I know my brother and I, we would go to a lot of his games, even if it was just, pick up hockey or like late Sunday nights with some of his friends. And, he played hockey growing up. He had a camp in major junior. And, but we both started, my brother and I, kind of in figure skating. So I figure skated.
Oh, yeah?
It was looking cute too.
Oh, yeah.
No, but we started figure skating. I think I was 3 years old, maybe, for 3 years, so 3 to 6. And then at one point, when my seven-year-old year, I kind of started to play hockey. But it was good to have a base before playing with.
For sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Skating is very important.
Exactly. So that was kind of how we started playing hockey. But I think at 2 years old or something, I had a stick in my hand already. So
that's sick.
Yeah.
Now, talk about your relationship with your brother growing up, because we're brothers too.
Yeah, exactly.
And we
We've
know
always
cool.
been competitive. I always put this guy on his ass anytime.
Yeah,
he acts up.
100%.
Are you the older brother or the younger?
I look like the youngest one, but I actually am
You're
the oldest
older?
one. Yeah. We all were, growing up, we always had some, feisty days and stuff. Being brothers, but I think it's awesome to have, personally for me, having 2 years apart. We never got to play in the same team, but we played against each other a little bit. And growing up, we had a little bit of the same lifestyle. We didn't always go to the same school, but we had the same lifestyle, and we kind of grew up together in that hockey environment, but also in sports environment. I got to play tennis with him, and golf and basketball, and that obviously brought us a lot of competitiveness in between us. And at the end of the day, I think there's nothing better to have compete with one of your brother or family. And
Of course.
we were super competitive growing up, and like I said, a couple of feisty days, but I consider him my best friend right now, and we talk almost every day, and we support each other a lot. So it's
push each other.
Yeah, exactly. So it's really nice.
But you get the last laugh, right? You show off your rings. So what's up, bro?
Honestly, I think he might get the last laugh financially wise. I think he's gonna make more money than me. So, but no, he's a good kid, and he's not gonna like me saying kid, but he's a good kid, and he's well deserved right now.
For sure. And staying on the family vibe, your parents, I'm sure, played a big role growing up. Do you want to talk about that and how they pushed you and supported you?
Yeah, absolutely. For us growing up, my parents were, I wouldn't say strict parents, but they had some rules, really discipline. Sure. School was probably number one thing in her family. I would consider my parents really smart people. I think they just IQ wise, you can tell when having conversation with them, they're smart and not a lot of knowledge, very curious people. And that was values that they kind of transferred to my brother and I. And since we were kind of young, they really wanted us to whatever we were doing, committing to it, and be engaged in what you do and do it 100%. And that's mainly the values that respect and things like that they kind of gave us growing up. And for my brother and I, just growing up with a lot of sports around the family, because I loved them. Too hyper, I need to move a lot.
For sure.
I was doing a bunch of different things, and but there's a couple of times where I wanted to quit the sport, and my parents were like, well, you need to finish the season, or you need to do that, and play soccer, finish that, and you have to decide between this and that. So I'm really blessed to have the parents that I have, but also the way that they made us enjoy sports and not give up, but also made us being a better person with character of sticking with it. And
for sure,
but at the same time, they never really pushed us. They were like, you just need to have fun and do it as hard as you can, but have fun. And if you don't like it at the end of the year, then you change. But and that was really their mentality and the hockey. And we never really felt like we were pushed. It was all coming from us. Working out early in the morning. That was me waking up. Practicing and stuff, and obviously financially wise, they've helped a lot from some hockey camps. But at the same time, it was, we'd have the hockey season and then soccer start, and it was.
You play soccer too?
Yeah, I played soccer for a long time.
Yeah, we played soccer growing up, and we honestly still play. We're in a men's league right now just because we love it so much. So
I bet.
Get the blood going, sweat a bit. But listen, so this is the What's Poppin' podcast. Typically, guys, you guys know we have an alcoholic beverage because
Well, it's mid-season, guys.
It's mid-season. We're making an exception today. We got some Fiji water. Stay hydrated. Sometimes, you got to pick up the water bottle instead of whatever alcoholic bottle it is.
My trainer is probably happy right now. He's like, yo, you got to stop drinking. I'm like, I will. So if you're watching, we're drinking water today.
So, guys, today's water, which is not bad. Always hydrate. Let's dig right in.
Pass me one?
Yeah,
so,
thanks.
there's always this like turning point, right? When you're a kid, because there's a lot of people. I'll give you an example. A lot of people I knew that were fantastic hockey players, like growing up, that didn't end up making it, and other players that weren't necessarily the best players in like high school and stuff, but they ended up making it big. Mm-hmm. So, what do you think the turning point is, or what was it for you at least? Like, when did you know you were gonna make it and you can actually make it to the league?
To be honest, when I was 15, I didn't make it. I didn't make the best league midget, the best team midget, the best category. I got cut midget AAA in at home, and I would say that was probably one of my turning point of work ethic. I would say I was always a guy who worked hard, but I was a little too small then. I didn't make the team. I was rattled. I got a coach that I saw him a couple games ago. Actually, he came at the rink. It was great to see him, but it's called midget prospect. So I played in that league, and honestly, I would say I dominated that year. And I was coming back from school. I think it was my 15, 16-year-old year. Dominated the league, but I would say that was probably one of the season that I dominated the most compared to my past season. I was always good, but never much better than the average good players and best player in the league, And I was coming back from school. I had an hour and a half to go to school in the morning in a bus, an hour back at night. I would drop in school, go to the gym by myself, ask my trainer to work out, and I did that four times a week for probably the entire season. And that was probably when I got better as the season went on, and ended up being drafted in the QMJHL. Didn't make the team at 16, and played at 16 half the year in midget AAA, and then half the year I got called up, stayed there. 17-year-old, I had an okay year at first. Went to the coach asking for a little bit about what do you want me as a role. I had like 15 breakaways in the first eight games of the season and couldn't score, and it's still happening in the NHL. Can't score and breakaways, but it's I think that's when I started to understand that, like, okay, maybe I can be a good player around the league, and he gave me a little bit more confidence, a little bit more power play, and I ended up being drafted in 4th round there. And after that, I mean, I feel like everyone can make it after you get an opportunity to be drafted, but I think I never really dominated everywhere I went, beside my last 2 years in junior. And, I think I was just getting better a little bit every year and a little bit better every year. And at the end of the day, I think the difference between some guys that were really talented and myself and even my brother is that I worked harder than other guys.
For sure. And I feel like every successful story, at some point, there's a little setback. So that fueled you, obviously gave you motivation, and that's how you got
I feel like
today.
the World Juniors, you played really well at the World Juniors too.
That was
For
probably
sure.
one of the things too that, you know, gave me a lot of confidence to believe in myself, because at the end of the day, really, that's really what it is. I think it's confidence in what you can do, and do you want to win more than the other guy on the other team. And you know, I'm a guy who's extremely competitive,
For sure.
and you know, I hate losing more than I like winning.
Yeah.
You know, that's probably what, you know, like I said, separates some guys to others. And you know, World Junior Shabbat was amazing there, and I had some friends, and it was pretty cool for me that I never, you know, I never played with Team Canada or even Team Quebec before my under 20. So
Wow.
it was pretty cool for me to represent my country like that. It was in Montreal and Toronto, so that was
crazy.
also, you know,
Hometown.
extra motivation.
For sure.
And,
Families there.
yeah, exactly. Everyone's watching, so you know, that's definitely gave me a lot of confidence. And you know, after that, I think I just, like I said, I think I just try to get better every year, and I'm still trying to do that.
Of course.
Let's set the tone here. Let's set the scene. Every young hockey player's dream, draft day. What was it like for you? What was it like to hear your name called?
Feelings.
Who were you with?
I got
What
such
was
a
the
good
feel?
story for that, man. My draft
Let's
is,
hear it.
it's actually, you guys
Let's
are gonna
hear
die,
it.
I think, because I've told that story so many times, because it's such a important day, kind of, and at the same
course.
time, like, we had the same mentality as growing up, though. You know, my parents were like, we don't have expectations. Like, I was listed maybe in the third, fourth, fifth round, around that. And we went to Florida, had a little family vacation before. Had some friends, obviously, that were getting drafted too. So, but no, you know, we get to Florida, and then the first day, obviously, I knew I wasn't gonna get picked in the first round. And second day, whatever, there's a couple people there. My family's there too. I would say maybe 15 to 20 people from my family that might have made the trip to Florida. And I remember, so, you know, on the first round, the guys go on stage, blah, blah, it takes 15 minutes, takes a little bit of time. And the second, third, fourth, whatever, to 7, they just, you know, they go through pretty fast. So my name got called in the 4th round. You know, obviously really happy, kind of blacked out at the moment. To be
Yeah,
honest.
of course. I can imagine.
And you know, hugging everyone, my family, my brother, my grandparents, you know, my uncle and aunts and stuff, and cousins. And so I go down the stairs, and there's a team there that is Buffalo. And Dan Balsma, the coach at the time, was the coach of the Buffalo Sabres. And I remember he stood up in front of me, and I gave my coat to the guy that, you know, I'm supposed to follow around, and give the coat to the guy. He's walking out, and I'm going down on the ice with no ice, but on the downstairs. Yeah, exactly, where the tables are.
Yeah.
And Dan Balsma stood up and shakes my hand. And I never met the guy, right? And he's like, "Welcome to Buffalo."
Okay.
And I'm like, so confused. I'm like, wait, but at the same time, in 17-year-old or 18-year-old, I don't really know what's going on. Like, I'm by myself there.
Yeah.
So the entire organization stood up. The table, it must have been 20. And then I'm like shaking his hand, and I'm
Confused
like, thanks, but I'm confused. Like, I don't look at the screen right away, but I'm starting shaking hands around Buffalo, and they're all, welcome to Buffalo. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, I thought I was drafted in Tampa, you know? So the guy saw me around the Buffalo table, and he was like, dude, you're not drafted there. You're drafted in Tampa. But I figured the funny part about it is, you know, I figured, you know, a little bit after that, I met Steve Eisenman, and, you know, first guy to shake his hand. It was pretty cool, actually, to you know, have a legend like that. Exactly, a legend like that to meet for the first time after on the NHL stage. And you know, after that, a couple years, I played in Syracuse, and I ended up we traded for a guy named Devontae Stevens, and he played for Rochester at the time. Then he got traded to Syracuse. And I was like, man, we kind of look alike. He's a light-skinned guy, just like me, you know, like from out west. And I look at his draft. I'm like, are you my age? He's like, yeah. I'm like, let me check something real quick. So I ended up looking at the draft list.
I know
And 4 picks after me, he got drafted to Buffalo. By the time I hugged everyone,
So did they think you were him?
Yes, I did. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. So they thought I was him.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, because we look alike, honestly. And yeah, it's pretty funny that, you know, I ended up shaking the wrong team for my draft, for my name.
That's hilarious.
So
That's
you get
hilarious.
to Tampa.
Yeah.
Now you're in like a completely new league. You're there. What's it like finding a role on the team? What's it like the mentality?
Yeah, I mean, you know, my first, right after that, the draft too, you know, I got to do the development camp. It was hot. I remember my first, it was in July or early July, and it was really hot in Tampa. But it was cool, you know, like good facilities, great organization.
And the team was buzzing, right, around that time too?
Yeah, I would say.
Starting to.
2000, right? When did I get drafted?
15?
2015. Yeah, I think that was the year where they might have been to the Stanley, or the year after maybe.
Yeah, they made to the finals.
Actually, no, that's true because 2 months before the draft, I ended up watching a game against Montreal in the second round of playoff maybe. Against Montreal, right?
Yeah.
And I remember Kucherov scored in the OT winner that game that I went. And it was a playoff game. It was pretty cool. I remember being in the pit with my brother and my dad, and my mom having a chanting against Bishop. And then like 2 months later, I was shooting against them at the not practice. Def camp, but yeah. But yeah, honestly, Tampa was great. I got to spend a little bit of time in the American League, which I enjoyed as well. In Syracuse, we were young, you know. We kind of have a lot of draft picks that year, and good players, and it was a fun environment. Honestly, a good mix of veteran and young. And then the year after that, I had a really, really good camp, and that's where I made it because our team was stacked. I don't really know how I made that team, but my camp started well. Started playing well as well, and early, and you know, I was always an offensive player, I would say, you know, before the NHL, and I think I had to change my game a little bit in junior to be able to get drafted. I don't think my offensive game was good enough to just made it to the pro level, and you know, so I kind of focused a lot on my stick positioning, be good defensively. I'm always been a fast guy, so I can recover fast, but and you know, over the years, I think I'm really grateful about the fact that I played in Tampa and being maybe in the role that wasn't necessarily offensive, a little bit more defensive, and you know, it helped me a lot in my defensive game, and coaches are trusting me more and more over the years.
For sure.
It was cool.
And I want to talk about how a lot of the great players go their whole career, don't even get the chance, or not even get the chance, or they just don't win a ring. You're grateful to get 2 rings back to back.
Young early in your career.
So my question to you is, how do you stay motivated after that? Especially since, you know, like I said, a lot of these players, the end goal is to get a ring, right? You got 2 right away.
Guys got 2.
How do you stay motivated, and how did you take all that experience playing with these top guys like Stamkos, Kucherov, and bringing it to a rebuild team in Ottawa?
Yeah. You know, I know I say I have 2. Obviously, I do have 2 rings, and my name's on both cups. I would my first one is kind of an asterisk, I would say.
It's
I didn't want to, you know, let's just say you got 2 rings.
I know, but you know, I didn't play in the playoffs, and you know, I was in the bubble. I played the full year with the team prior to that. You know, got swept by Columbus. So for me, you know, obviously not playing in the playoffs was not bothering now, but you know, a little bit of a extra motivation too as well. You know, obviously I felt like I was part of the team. The guys made me feel part of the team. I was there for the past year and a half before COVID hits, and but you know, I think motivation wise, I think a week after winning the Stanley Cup is enough motivation for you to want to have another one.
Keep
again.
going.
Honestly, it's something special that, you know, I hope I can relive in my life. You know, there's so much
2 or 3 years, maybe this year.
I would love to win here in Ottawa. Honestly, great group of guys, and you know, the guys that you win with, it's such a special atmosphere around the room. Guys that, you know, you're gonna be friends forever after that.
Of course,
you're gonna see each other no matter where. You know, you went through a lot of shit together.
Of course,
you know, and it's everything has to align for you to win the Stanley Cup, and you know, hopefully I can do it again, but you know, like I said earlier, I hate losing more than I like winning. So I hopefully
same.
So
can't imagine an NHL player, you know.
Yeah, so I just want to relive that with, you know, obviously it's gonna be a different group of guys, but you know, at the end of the day, that's the end goal, because there's nothing better than winning.
Yeah. So
let's talk about that move to Ottawa.
Yeah, so you get the phone call. You're going to Ottawa. You're leaving the sun, the heat, and you're coming back home to Canada. but in Ottawa.
Yeah.
So how did that feel?
Rebuild team at that time.
You're going from a championship team to a rebuild team. What were your thoughts?
You know what?
Bullshit. Be honest.
Well, no, I will. Trust me, I will. You know what? When the trade happens, I was actually at the golf tournament, PGL golf tournament.
Oh, nice.
On the golf course.
The green.
I just got in my car after it, and I got a call from Julian, and I could hear in his voice it wasn't something he maybe wanted. I think obviously, with Nick Paul, I think he's such a good player. It was a good addition for Tampa last year to go far, and at the time I was a little bit rattled because I was playing a penalty kill minutes a lot during the season, and it's hard to make the playoffs. And I felt like I did, and not necessarily on the offensive side that much because we have so much firepower in Stamkos, Kucherov, Point, you name them. But I grinded a lot defensive wise, and trying to help the team to win, and not being able to have a run again with this team sucked. It's probably the thing that sucked the most. But you know what? At the end of the day, it was part of the business, and I understand the trade. Like I said, Paul's such a good player for the playoffs, a big guy that works well around the boards and really liked by his teammates. I could tell how much they liked him here, and obviously being traded here was also fun for me to be in an environment of different environment of young too.
Yeah.
I remember getting here and I'm like, my God, what an atmosphere! The boys are chirping each other, all the time, and I felt a little bit like junior,
like you went from vets to rookies,
exactly.
right?
And not that it wasn't bad. It was a bad atmosphere in Tampa. It was great too. The guys, it was just different. The guys are not talking about the same things, the guys are, making cocky calls here in Ottawa, which I like, and it's like I said, it's a different environment, but it was fun for me to get in the core of a young team that, have had a couple of trouble in the last couple of years, and hopefully, could turn it around in the next couple of years. And, that's one of the reasons why, I wanted to stay for a couple of years. I think we have a good young core, and, I saw Chikrin talking about it yesterday in an interview, and he was like, you can tell right away that this team is close, and it's fun to be at the rink, and it really is. Like, it's not hard to go to the rink and see the guys in the morning, because it's fun to be around these guys, and like I said, we're all around the same age, so yeah.
The chemistry was there. Basically.
Oh yeah, it was there right away, and they welcomed me easily. I knew Shabbat from junior.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you that next. Actually, how does it feel reuniting with Shabbat? How was that?
Yeah,
and Gauthier too.
Yeah, Gauthier now too. No, it's great, honestly. I go to this golf tournament every summer since junior. We've had some really good moments together. We kind of grew up in St. John together, as in junior, and ended up winning there, and not the Mem Cup, but the league, and we obviously stayed in contact for a long time. So being with him here is awesome. I remember when I got traded, he called me right away, and he had a huge smile on his face.
Yeah, for sure.
And I was just like really. Pretty much in tears, like thinking about like leaving my friends and stuff,
the weather,
and at the time, obviously, like this was the day of, so there's a lot of emotion. But obviously pumped to be with him, and great guy. It's so fun to be around Shabby, and such a funny dude that we're gonna be friends forever.
Yeah, for sure.
Talk about leaving like the weather and stuff, but Ottawa's starting to become kind of a destination that players want to come to now.
Yeah,
sure. What do you think changed? Is it the team?
It's the buzz.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of that. I mean, obviously adding Giroux in the Brinkhead this summer, I think was was a big thing.
Huge.
Two good players. I think we have some upcoming players that are. I mean, I've played with a lot of good players in Tampa, and I've seen a lot of players around the league as well, and guys like Timmy is an unbelievable player, and Sanderson is going to be an absolute stud in this league as well. And I can name more of these guys too. Norris is such a good player too. Kachuk is doing his thing, and he's doing everything on the ice. So a mix of like good hard players that wants to improve every day and get better. And Batherson, I didn't really know of him as a player unless playing against him. And when you get to play with him, you're like, man, that guy's good. And you know what, the fact that, you know, that when you win or when you're trying to win or when you're, you know, you have some attractive player to come to a team, I think that's what makes other players wanting to come. And
Of course.
also I think the fact that we're young and, you know, that, you know, we can bring all some core together.
It's got that energy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the locker room, I'm sure that probably gets around too.
Yeah.
100%. And you just know that it's an easy locker room to come in, and you know, I think that's attractive for some players around.
For sure. And let me tell you, the CTC in the playoffs is crazy.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah,
Crazy.
yeah.
Oh,
Buzzing.
bet.
I think it was Brodeur. He was saying it was the loudest arena he's ever played in the playoffs. We got a crazy fan base, and I'm very excited. CTC is filling up again. And man, you guys are pushing right now, and we're right behind you. Everybody, the whole city's behind you. We're right there, man. We want to see you guys back in the playoffs, even if it's not this year, next year. But we got a shot this year, so why not?
Yeah, well, you know, I think as a young group, that the hard part is sometimes to not project yourself too much.
Yeah.
And you know, I didn't really answer your question earlier about what I can bring from Tampa, and you know, as a younger player that was in veteran group, you know, you get to see how to win, and you know, it's experience that you people don't necessarily know that, you know, you gain from winning, not just, you know, scoring wise, or there's little things in games to have that like matters in winnings. And you know, that's something that I'm trying to bring. And, you know, obviously I wouldn't say I'm the leader of the team, obviously, but I think I can be a leader around that team, which a lot of guys can as well. But, you know, I think I can bring that experience of how to, you know, stay calm in moments where, you know, sometimes as a young team you don't have that necessary experience and maturity to finish games. And I think that was a struggle earlier in the season of us, you know, trying to
close out
games, or even coming back from games where we were down in the third period, and you know, just changing your game a little bit. And you know, I've learned in Tampa that you know, probably we would always say process over outcome, and you know, sometimes you just have to keep doing the same thing over and over and trust your process, and then it will, you know, it will benefit you at the end of the day.
And that's in everything in life. I feel like anything you're trying to really accomplish,
of course,
fall in love with the process, not the destination.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And you know, you learn. It took me some time to learn it too. You know, I changed a little bit of my games over the years. A little bit of the down season, I would say, for me this year. You know, scoring wise. But, you know, I think you're
still there, though. You're still
that's what I mean. I'm trying to do other things.
You're a difference maker for sure.
Yeah, it's not about scoring. Right?
Exactly. And, you know, I think obviously as players, you know, we want to, you know, put pressure on yourself from helping a team, you know, on every sphere of the game. But, you know, I think that experience that I'm bringing of the calmness and poise in third periods, and, you know, managing pucks when it's time to manage pucks, and, you know, PK experience that not everyone around the league has, because, of
course,
I've been part of a winning team.
Yeah, you have that experience. And we're talking about leadership. What do you think? What are your thoughts on Captain Brady? Like, how is his vibe in the locker room, on the ice, off the ice?
He's a massive competitor. Obviously, you can see how he plays. He plays hard every night, and you know, there's not a lot of power forward that does his job as well as he does. He can fight, he can hit so hard, he can skate, and you know, he's been a leader for us and since I've been here. And obviously I can see why he's a good player in this league, and also I think he's gonna just develop to be even a better leader, and more as much as he's gonna grow. And you know, he's still young. People don't realize how young he is already still, and you know, I think he's gonna be, you know, big part of this team, but a really good player for a long time in this league.
Speaking of hits, we got to backtrack a little bit. That hit with your brother, bro. What happened?
Double high stick. Was yours really a high stick? I don't think so, but I feel like the refs were like, "Hey, this is a great snenario."
Saw a shot of your parents in the
it's so audience. Funny. You know what's so funny? My brother and I talked about it after the game, and our first game in junior against each other, and it was in St. John. We hit each other like
Like, is it just like
roughing
open
penalty.
game? Like
Roughing penalty, both of us at the same time.
Like, was this planned or you just saw each other? You're like, go
Fell
time.
under me. My skates were basically like about to hit him in the chest, and I'm like, bro, and he's grabbing my leg. I'm like, man, I'm gonna hurt you. Like, I don't want to step on you.
Yeah.
And yeah, basically, I think we just got a roughing penalty there, and then our first game in the AHL, I'm pretty sure we both had a penalty, but not at the same time. And then the NHL happens, and I try to finish my hit, little high, elbow a little bit high. I'm not gonna lie, a little bit harder since it's my brother, but obviously didn't try to hurt him. But his stick got cut up in my visor, and then in his face, he hits his own stick.
I think when I watched it looked like he hit his own face.
Yeah,
because
it was his own stick. So I think his stick got cut, and then it hits himself. But whatever, it's pretty funny, and we got a couple good pictures from it.
I remember watching it. I'm like seeing you guys both skate to the like you're trying not to laugh, but at the same time you're smiling because you're like, what are the odds?
No, I know, it's pretty funny.
I always wondered, like, imagine like playing against your brother. I'm like, what if like somebody on your team like starts scrapping your brother?
Honestly, like Waddy,
every man's for himself.
Like, that's it. You're not your brother after the game, before the game, during the game.
We're not on the same team. We're here to win.
No. You do everything you want for your team to win, and that's why I liked about it too. I always try to distract him, talk to him during games.
Get in his
never
head.
answered me once,
like
or
two
barely
rings.
once,
2
maybe.
rings.
And legit. And he was there, and when I won, he came to Tampa, and he just played 2 games against Tampa, and know some of the guys because he worked out with me during COVID year too, since he couldn't really come here, so. He went to Tampa, so he met a lot of the guys, and he played really hard in those 2 games this week. I could just tell.
Prove himself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I could tell that he wanted those games, and good for him.
What would you say is like your biggest challenge so far in your young career, and how did you overcome that?
For me, I think personally is not to be complacent. I think sometimes when you have a little bit longer contract and you feel like you're a little bit more financially stable, you want to you're a little bit complacent, and you don't go as hard, or you don't do the little things that you do to get better. And I think that's a challenge for everyone in this league. It's such a hard league to stay in because of that. And I would say that the second thing is probably the consistency. It's a lot of games and in some short time, and it's hard to be consistent every night, to feel good every night. And but I think that's a challenge for a lot of guys, and but being consistent every night is something. It's challenging, and it has been challenging for me since my young career. And the highs and lows of a season is a thing, and you just have to. The players that are doing the best is when they're not too high when it's too high, and they're not too low when it's too low. And that's something I wouldn't say struggle, but it has been challenging for me since my young career, and obviously something that I have to keep working on.
Of course.
And, but obviously motivation wise, it's probably not that. I think I can find a way to motivate me. It's more to show up every day, and like I said, not be complacent and try to improve every day. That's probably one of the challenges.
For sure.
You mentioned feeling good. What are some things you do to take care of the body? Because as an athlete, your body is literally your.
Yeah, I've been pretty sore lately. I think a lot of guys have. Like I said, so many games, but it's like that everywhere.
Do you do cold plunges and shit? I just
actually went to the Nordic spa the other day.
It's the best.
It was pretty cool. Yeah.
First time?
Yeah, it was my first time.
Actually?
Yeah, it was my
amazing.
first time.
There's actually
I might go
one.
with brass today after that. I'm undecided yet. So no, but I think we have some really good athletic trainers.
Yeah.
They take care of you well. Back to backs. We have cold plunges, sauna. A lot of things at the rink. I do needles sometimes as well at the rink, and a lot of people around us to help us feel better, but. You stretch, you roll every day. We have some athletic trainers as well that, helps us with mobility and stuff. And, I think these guys they're all there for us to be better and to get better and to stay
healthy.
Yeah, exactly. Stay healthy. So, it's really discipline at the end of the day. I think a lot of it is discipline and how much you want to do it. Sometimes it sucks to have an extra workout or an extra stretch that you don't want to do, but I've learned it the hard way in junior that if I don't roll or anything, my hips is gonna.
Dude, I was getting a massage the other day, and that's what he was telling me too. He's like, "You gotta roll." I'm like, "I don't know what the fuck that is," but he's like, "You gotta do it because if you don't do it now, you're gonna regret it when you're older." And I'm not even like a professional athlete. I just like work out.
Of course, your body's not going
the guy's like
nearly as much.
If you don't, once it happens, you can be like, "Fuck, I wish I did it," you know. So
no, but yeah, so I bet, and just rolling and just trying to take care of the body, stretching wise, but something I still struggle with, and
of course,
so hard to do it over and over again.
Of course. So being a pro athlete, obviously having the best mentality is very important. How do you handle, when you're going, like you yourself or as a team, you're going you're in a down, like a little bit of a hole, and there's criticism coming out, the media's on your behind, What kind of things do you tell yourself, and how do you push through that to get back up?
Yeah, I think personally for me, I'm trying to not talk about it too much. I think in general, as a young team, I think we talk about it a little bit too. We had some ups, some downs early in the season, and then after that, it's kind of been a really bit of a roller coaster of games. Like we win 2, we lose 2, we win 3, we lose 4. I think it's the challenge, like I said earlier, about a young team. But at the end of the day, you just the way to win in this league is if you want it more than the other team, and every team can beat everyone. Obviously, there's some teams that have a little bit more depth. I'm not saying that, but you have to come out of it together. And it's. I remember sometimes during the year where the atmosphere around the guys aren't playing with confidence.
Yeah.
And, you just feel it around the team, and it's not the same vibe around the room.
It's kind of contagious, right?
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. And winning is as well. And I've also learned from previous experience that winning as a team just helps everyone, individually.
Of course.
And, I think that's the mentality you have to have. And, the process overall outcome is a thing. Sometimes... there's some games this year where we probably shouldn't have won that we won. There's some games that we probably should have won that we lost. And, it's part of it. It's part of it. And it's not going to go your way every night, but you got to stick with it. And, you have to do it as a team, really.
Of course.
Before we jump into some rapid questions, I just want, because off camera we're talking about, Patrick Kane and how that was playing against him. You said you have a nice story.
Yeah, it's not a crazy story, but it's pretty good. I was obviously one of my favorite player. I really liked OV growing up. I loved OV growing up. The way he enjoyed scoring goals.
Electric.
Every goal he scored, it's like he scored his first NHL goal. Yeah. Or a Game 7 goal.
Hits the boards.
Yeah, exactly. And he's excited to score. And there's a reason why he scores so much. Obviously very talented, but he loves scoring. And
still at this age, man, he's killing it.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. And he was one of my favorite players, and then Kane was probably one of my favorite player growing up, with Igilna as well. And my agent gave me a computer when I was 16, just because as a gift of my first year with him or whatever. And nice computer, Dell computer, maybe back in the days, and this was what 10 years ago maybe. And the first guy that I put in my back screen was Patrick Kane, selling in at the United Center, like a 6 celly. And I've used that computer a lot over the years in junior for movies and stuff. I download movies and watching, and just for school stuff. And I remember at one point I still had this in my first couple of years in the NHL. I still had that computer, but I never changed the screen. So I remember my first game at United Center, that really kicks me in of playing the NHL. Obviously, my first game, it's, you're excited and everything. In that couple of game, you're just trying to understand the league. I think this must have been game 10 or around that. And I'm standing at this face-off, and Patrick Kane's right beside me. And, I'm like, all right, like,
wow.
I just realized probably that this is a cool moment for me to play against one of the guys I idolized growing up. But also, I still have the guy on my background computer. So
do I tell him? Probably.
Yeah, probably don't tell.
Probably
him,
not.
But
like,
and then a couple of years, I haven't used that computer in a while. But obviously it was pretty cool for me to It was probably a moment where I realized, okay, I'm playing in the
I'm
NHL.
here.
Yeah,
I made
I'm
it
here right now. Having him for 6 years as my background, him selling in the Stanley Cup finals.
And now the other night you see him in a Rangers jersey. That must have been weird.
That game
must have been pretty weird, eh?
Yeah, that was so weird. I think the guys talked about it. It was just weird to see him in the different jerseys, see him in a different atmosphere. I think he enjoyed it a lot. It was a crazy day media wise yesterday.
So many things happening in one game.
That's what I mean. Brass's 1,000 games, had an awesome game. Good for him. Yeah. The boys were pumped for him and
so close to hitting that empty net.
We wanted.
He's got to work on that shot.
No, I think he just turned and shot it.
On the team was like,
I wanted him so bad to hit the third one. That would have been awesome.
Giroux was like, he's got to work on that.
No, but Chychrun coming in, having a crazy chip coming in at 7 a.m. or something.
Yeah, I saw it on. I got a notice saying Chychrun hopping on a flight to New York. He's probably playing tomorrow. I'm like, this guy just got traded.
Yeah, and he hasn't played in like 2 weeks probably. And same with Kane, hasn't played in a while because of trade related reason. And but just everything around, you could feel it in the city. I like to walk to games, especially in New York, before the game.
I was going to say,
put my headphones, walk to the game, and, you could just see the atmosphere. People in warm-ups were buzzing. Packed in warm-up for the
MSG, one of the biggest places to play.
Exactly. It was cool, but
that's awesome.
It was definitely weird to see him in a different jersey.
Of course.
That's for sure.
And, boys must be buzzing about Chychrun. Huge.
Yeah, he's a good player. He's a really good player. He's going to help our team.
Let's hop into some rapid
questions.
Perfect.
We're going to ask you some questions
to wrap this all up.
We'll go 1-2-1-2. Okay. So you want to start off?
All right. This is a typical question with a little twist on it. If you're deserted on an island with one teammate, who would it be and why?
One teammate. I would say probably Sanderson. Just because he's such a good guy. I wouldn't mind, being with him, and I feel like we'd figure it out together.
For sure.
Yeah, I'd probably be my first option. If not, probably an older guy who has experience in a couple things. But
let's flip that question. Who's somebody you wouldn't want to be on?
Someone I wouldn't want to.
Let's not get him in trouble,
Yeah, no. I'll say probably Timmy. I think. Yeah, I think it's not because I don't like him. It's just because. I feel like we have, first of all, we both have way too much energy all together. I think we piss each other off after a little bit. And also I feel like, he's young, even if he has the same age as Sanderson. I feel like Sanderson is a little bit more mature in some sphere of life. But, nothing against it, but it's probably Timmy.
Okay. What's the funniest or weirdest thing a fan's ever done to you?
For any funny fan stories?
Funny fan story. In Boston, I remember a couple years ago, a fan at the penalty box. I got a penalty. I hit Krejci pretty bad. It wasn't a bad hit, but it was a pretty big hit. And
Good.
It was the last game of the season. Like no one.
Fuck Boston.
And I didn't need to hit the guy like that. Some of the guys took the games off because playoffs were already set,
Yeah. That's true.
Anyway, so I remember one of the fans. There was one that threw some water over the glass on top of me. Yeah, and a couple middle fingers too at that.
Of course, off the board.
And I was like, man,
style?
this is nuts. Like, I'm just getting crossed with some water. People are yelling names. But it's hard for me to picture right now. Fan wise, but I would say that's something that marked me for sure.
For sure.
Some water over it.
Over the glass. This is a good one. I know you guys get your equipment washed and stuff, but whose equipment bag smells the worst? Or whose
equipment smells the worst? I'm trying to think.
I know it's a bit different when you're in the NHL.
Yeah,
usually,
yeah.
like juniors, you honestly, bring your own stuff.
Personally, I think we all do.
Oh yeah.
I think we all smell pretty bad, but
reek up
I don't really to be honest with you, I don't really have an answer here. It's hard for me to know one guy that more than others.
Fair.
It's pretty bad after game. There's some.
Let's
games,
just say the team.
Yeah, on the
locker
road.
Room.
Yeah, on the road, like when we're not necessarily at the main rink or whatever, at a practice week and stuff, and after you get there the next day and you're like, man, it just smells kind of tough sometimes,
For sure. What's your favorite team to play against and why?
Love playing in Montreal. Tough building, tough place to play.
Right.
Tough place to beat. Sorry. I love playing in LA. It's probably one of my favorite places to play. I don't know why. The ice is not even that bad. I think it's because there's a lot of good-looking people in the stands too.
Absolutely.
A lot of famous people, and obviously New York is cool, but I would say probably Montreal and LA are my two favorite places.
Sick. So we know you're a sneakerhead. We were talking off camera. He's got a bunch of sneakers. We know you got the drip. We've seen the pictures. Apart from yourself, who has the best swag on the team?
A lot of guys dress as well in our team. A lot of guys are questionable too.
But shit, we're gonna flip this one too.
Maybe the older guys.
It's I think Timmy dresses well for as a Euro. You can tell he has really good style. Exactly.
There you go, Timmy. He doesn't want to be on an island with you, but he gave you props for dressing up.
Yeah, no, he dresses well. Shabbat has some good suit as well. But I would say probably Timmy has some good drip.
Timmy? Okay.
Always comes clean and really clean at the way he dresses.
Worst? Who's the worst?
You know what? I would have to go with, not suit wise. I think he has some good suits, Hamonic, but like he just completely different style of me of dressing wise. Which I mean, we have completely different lifestyle in term of outside hockey. But it's not that it's a bad style necessarily. It's just that I wouldn't wear. We would just wear different things, But he has some really good suits. I don't want to chirp him too much.
Yeah.
Is there a player in the league you don't like to play against, or that maybe rattles you a bit, gets in your head?
Yeah. There's a couple guys that I'm not a big fan of. I don't.
Don't call him.
Yeah, you don't have to call him.
No. What a stupid question, man.
No.
No, I'm just wondering.
No. There's a couple guys, and I wasn't gonna name them necessarily, but I would say there's a couple guys, a couple teams where I know, before the game, I'm like, yeah, this guy I just don't like. And
I was trying to get a bit of tea, bro. Come on.
No, but it's fair. Honestly, like I said, I don't. The problem is even when you see these guys, over the summer, you meet these guys, like everyone's fine with each other.
Of course.
It's just that when we're on the ice, like some guys plays hard, and just some guys are rattled. And I'm sure there's some guys that hates me, So
it is what it is.
Those are the best players, though, no?
Yeah, it's a sport.
Yeah, exactly. And I think at the end of the day, we're all trying to win. And
of course,
I respect the guys that are trying to bother the other team as well and be a distraction.
One of them is Brad Marchand, isn't it?
No, honestly, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me that much. Obviously, my first couple of years, he did some stuff like hanging a stick on the bench after getting hit. Like breaking a stick off the face.
One of those players you love when he's on your team.
Yeah, you love him on your team, but you hate playing against him.
Yeah, exactly.
One of those. You want him on your team.
I think a guy who's played hard, around the league, a cousin. I think I don't like him on the ice every time I play against him, but I'm sure he's liked by his teammates, and
sure.
There's some guys like that for sure.
For sure.
If you could create a new rule in the NHL, what would it be?
I would. Wow, that's a good question. And you know what? If I have time to think, I would have 5 or 10 to answer to that. But I personally think I don't like the rule of the puck getting out and staying in your zone. I think if the other team throws the puck out, I think the puck should. I think the face-off
I find
should
that's
kind
of stupid, to be honest.
Yeah, I think the face-off should be outside, and also I would probably change the skate goals. I think it's so hard to score anytime, and hard to score.
Like a kicking, you mean?
Yeah, kicking motion. Like I think
you think it should stand.
I think no matter if you score with your skate,
what does it change?
Your head? I think it should count. I think it's a skill to be able to.
That's the soccer player.
It is. It is the soccer player in me, but. Obviously, I think your hands it shouldn't be.
Obviously,
I think body, your elbow or whatever. I don't think it should. Part of it, but your skate is part of like you're allowed to pass it with your skate, but you're not allowed to score with it. That's true, actually. And a lot of goals are like it's hard to know if the guy's kicking it or not. Like that
reviewing
would take this
it
out
for
of the
like
question.
20 minutes reviewing.
Exactly. So I think that's probably one of the things, and probably the other rule I would take out is, I mean, personally for me. It's probably shootout. I don't mind shootout. It's for the fans. The fans love it. But personally, I think if you play overtime, there's going to be a goal at one point. And for us player, we'd rather win in a 3-on-3 situation or overtime.
Just keep the 3-on-3 going.
Exactly, and I think that was a good rule that they put up. Yeah. But the problem is there going to be games that are going to be like 2 overtimes? But I don't think so in 3-on-3.
Not in 3-on-3.
That's what I mean. 3-on-3 at some point, someone.
Of course,
somewhere,
of course. Because it's like you don't want to lose in a shootout, but at the same time, you don't want to drag like a regular season game fucking 3 overtimes.
Exactly. Which I understand.
Yeah, we got a couple more, and then I said, we know you're busy, so we'll wrap it up. What do you have to say to that young player watching this right now who's got the same dream you had, making it to the NHL? What are some pieces of advice you can give them?
Yeah, I think staying true to yourself. A lot of people have doubted me, my brother, and guys that have played in this league. And sometimes when you hear things from other people, you doubt in yourself a little bit. And I think staying true to yourself and believing in yourself. I know it's a cliche, and I think growing up, some people told me about it. My dad would always say nothing's impossible, and just if you do. Actually, the best quote that my dad's told me growing up is probably, if you do like everybody else, you'll just be like everybody else.
Facts.
And I remember being maybe 12, 13 years old, hearing that quote from him, and I thought about it for so long because he was so right. And I think if you work harder than the people around you, it's not always right away that you're gonna see the result. But at the end of the day, working harder than the average person is gonna help you in the long run. And that's what I'm gonna have to say to the kids. I think just work as hard as you can. No matter what, if people think you work too hard, just keep working and stay true to yourself.
No such thing.
Yeah, there's no such thing as working as hard as or harder than anyone else. And especially if you want to reach goals that you gave to yourself. And but at the end of the day, you have to believe in you. And there's nothing else, no one else beside your family supporting you, or your friends are gonna believe in you unless you do. And like I said, just believe in yourself.
100%. I got
one more.
I got 2 quick ones. So first one is,
go ahead.
As a Quebecois born, are you team RDS or team TVA?
You know what? They're great people in both, to be honest. I grew up watching RDS because TVA Sport wasn't there. Yeah. But this is
a fan question.
It's great. No, it's a great question. Like I said, I think I like both, to be honest. It's hard for me to pick, but I think TVA Sports has been closer probably to us in the past couple of years, but I like both because they have different things too. I watch golf on RDS. I watch some hockey sometimes on the TVA Sports. Live Golf is now on TVA Sports. Yeah. So I like both, to be honest, but I wouldn't say who I'm closer with because I went to RDS this summer and have some friends that works in TVA, so. It's cool, really flip a coin.
And finally, where can people follow you? Where can people...
And before that, so I got one more. Like we said, you guys are buzzing right now. You're fighting for that playoff position.
I know where you're gonna
the whole city's behind you. We're supporting you. We're buzzing. What do you have to say to the fans of Ottawa who are watching these games and are very excited? What do you got to say to us?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's great questions. Obviously, it's not always easy to be a fan of any sports team. I think that you realize it down the stretch, but stick with us. And we felt the support before the season started. We had this huge buzz around us. We felt it. We were excited. Obviously, it's maybe a tougher start of the season than we expected. And hopefully we can have a really good month of March and make it a push and make you believe that we can make this thing. And I know the guys in the room believe in it. I know the organization believe in it, and keep supporting us and being there for us, because we definitely felt the fan support over the last couple months. So
we got one of the best fan bases, as you can tell.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like I said, we feel it, and it definitely gives us a massive boost. Even if people don't think it does, it really does. And we feel it at home when we play at home, and hopefully that we can keep winning for you guys, and that's why we play.
Let's go, baby. Let's go. Where can they find you on socials? It's not that hard to find him.
Yeah, honestly, probably not hard to find. I mean, Matty Jo's 21 on Instagram.
Matty Jo 21.
Yeah, and on Twitter too, but I don't tweet that much. So
of course,
I would probably say Instagram. I have a TikTok too. I'm pretty.
Oh yeah, you hopped on it.
I did it in quarantine, and I have some pretty funny ones. To be honest, I'll
have to check those out. Yeah.
Hopefully these don't get leaked too much because it's just some of them are pretty. Not embarrassing, but pretty funny.
Yeah.
So
that's what TikTok's all about.
Yeah, honestly, feel free to don't have to follow either, but feel free to.
All right, man. We really appreciate you again coming out. Good luck with the rest of the season.
Appreciate it, man.
We're behind you.
Absolutely.
And
I really appreciate that.
Guys, you guys know where to find us. We're gonna pop it up on the screen. It's the What's Poppin' Podcast on IG and on YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed, hit the bell, and follow us so you can see what we're up to and follow us with the episodes.
Keep the sports series going, baby. You guys asked for it. We brought it. We'll see you in the next episode.
Take it easy, guys.